What if your 2 a.m. thoughts weren't random, but warnings? You're lying in bed, the lights are off, the world is quiet, but your mind, wide awake. Thoughts you avoided all day suddenly come flooding in: regrets, fears, what-ifs, memories you didn't ask for. Why now? Why always then? Carl Jung believed that the unconscious mind doesn't sleep when we do. In fact, it often becomes loudest when everything else goes silent. Because the distractions are gone, the masks are off, and in that stillness, the truth begins to whisper. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. But before it becomes fate, it tries to speak. And often it speaks at night. Those racing thoughts, they're not just anxiety. They're clues, echoes of your shadow, messages from the parts of you that were silenced, denied, or pushed aside." This video isn't about sleep. It's about listening, because the thoughts that haunt you at night might be trying to heal you. And the more you ignore them, the louder they'll become. So tonight, instead of running from your mind, what if you finally listened? There's something sacred and haunting about nighttime. During the day, we wear roles. We move through distractions, obligations, noise. But at night, all of that falls away. And what's left is you. Not the version you show the world, but the one underneath. Carl Jung believed the unconscious seeks expression. It doesn't stay silent just because we do. And the quieter our environment becomes, the louder our inner world starts to speak. That's why so many people experience emotional turbulence right before bed. It's not insomnia. It's not just anxiety. It's the psyche finally having space to breathe. At night, unprocessed feelings come to the surface. Guilt, longing, loneliness, dreams we abandoned, people we lost, regrets we never voiced. You're not overthinking. You're remembering. You're confronting what you pushed away to survive the day. The mind, stripped of distractions, becomes a mirror. And Jung taught us that whatever the unconscious brings forward is not random. It's trying to become conscious. Every recurring thought, every image, every painful feeling, it's a message, not to punish you, but to awaken you. Your sadness has something to say. So does your anxiety. So does that tight feeling in your chest that shows up every night around the same time. You're not broken for having thoughts that visit you when the world is still. You're being invited to look deeper, to see the parts of you that want to be known, the parts you've ignored for too long. Because the night doesn't just bring silence. It brings truth. And if you're willing to sit with that truth instead of silencing it, you may begin to understand parts of yourself you've never truly met. And that is where healing begins. Carl Jung described the shadow as everything we reject, suppress, or deny within ourselves. Not just the parts we label bad, like rage or jealousy, but also vulnerability, desire, pain, and fear. The shadow isn't evil, it's exiled. And at night, when the conscious mind begins to fade, the shadow begins to rise. Why? Because all day long, you're busy holding your mask in place. You play your roles. You say what's expected. You keep things light. But the parts of you that aren't allowed to exist don't disappear. They wait. And at night, they speak. You may hear them in the form of intrusive thoughts, looping worries, or waves of sadness you can't quite explain. You may start to feel regret, longing, even panic, just as your body tries to sleep. Jung said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." The shadow shows up at night not to haunt you, but to be acknowledged. Carries all the things you weren't allowed to feel, all the stories you didn't get to finish, all the pain you thought you buried for good. And the more you ignore it, the more power it gains. At night, your defenses are down. Your mind softens. And in that softness, the unconscious sees a chance. Not to punish you, but to reconnect you with the truth. So if your thoughts scare you at night, ask why they feel threatening. What are they pointing to? What emotion are they trying to deliver that you couldn't carry during the day? You might be surprised by the answer, because often what we fear the most is simply a younger version of ourselves, asking to be seen. Jung didn't want us to destroy the shadow. He wanted us to befriend it. And that journey often begins in the dark. Not all thoughts are literal, especially at night. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious speaks in symbols. That means your late-night thoughts might not mean exactly what they say. They might represent something deeper, something emotional, something ancient. When you lie in bed and suddenly fear failure or abandonment or death, it may not be about the thing itself. It may be about a wound from long ago that was never witnessed. It's not about tomorrow's meeting or that text you didn't get. It's about the deeper belief hiding underneath. I'm not safe. I'm not wanted. I'm not enough. The unconscious doesn't give lectures. It gives images. It gives feelings. It stirs the waters so you can finally notice what's been floating underneath. And at night, those echoes become louder because the noise is gone, and your body, still and unguarded, becomes the screen where your soul projects what it needs you to feel. Anxiety? It might be grief in disguise. Overthinking? It might be suppressed anger. Emptiness? It might be your intuition, begging you to slow down and listen. These emotional signals don't show up to torment you. They show up to tell the truth. And if you repress them, they don't disappear. They go underground. They morph. They influence your choices, your moods, your relationships. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The thoughts you dismiss at night might be shaping your days more than you know. That's why we don't silence them. We listen, with gentleness, with curiosity, without trying to fix or analyze right away. Because sometimes, what keeps you up at night is a message from the deepest part of you. And the more you learn to listen without fear, the less power those fears have over you. We're taught to quiet the mind before sleep, to distract, to numb, to scroll until we pass out. But Carl Jung would have told us something different. Listen, not every thought needs solving, but every thought carries meaning, especially the ones that return again and again. Before bed, you're given a rare opportunity to hear your inner world without interruption. And if you stop running, even for a moment, you might start to recognize what it's saying. Start small. Keep a notebook beside your bed. When thoughts feel too heavy, write them down. Not to fix them, but to witness them. Practice observing instead of reacting. Allow the discomfort to exist without judgment. You'll notice something powerful. The more you acknowledge your thoughts, the less control they have over you. They soften, they shift, they move. Because what the unconscious really wants is not perfection. It wants your presence. And the more present you are, the less your mind will need to shout to be heard. Sleep doesn't require silence. It requires peace. And peace begins the moment you stop fighting yourself. Your late-night thoughts aren't enemies. They're unspoken truths, emotional echoes, messages from the parts of you that never got to speak during the day. Carl Jung didn't tell us to avoid the darkness. He taught us to understand it, to sit with it, to learn its language. So the next time your mind starts racing before bed, don't rush to silence it. Pause, breathe, listen, because what feels like overthinking might be your soul finally speaking. If this resonated with you, subscribe. There's more to discover in the quiet and in yourself.